arrested and charged and went to trial and they were found not guilty. And guess what? They can never, ever, ever get their record expunged. Now that's real fair. These are contributing members of the community. They're attorneys. They're officers of the court. But guess what? It always comes back. That's your definition. You got arrested for, you went to trial for.
You know, for those who do not know who he is, has given his, and correct me if I'm wrong, but has given over 35 years of his life, devoted his career to helping the people of Rhode Island. This man has, whether in the courthouse or in the state house, he's put his foot forward, and he's made a lot of change happen, and he continues to do the work. And we just have to, support him. I want to give my thanks and acknowledge this young man. Today we have John Lombardi here with us, attorney John Lombardi, and also representative of District 8. We appreciate you coming, taking the time out. You could have been somewhere else, and you're giving us some time, and we really appreciate that.
There's no football game or nothing going on today, right?
That's probably why he's here, huh? So yeah, John Lombardi's here with us, and we are going to hear what basically what we've been trying to push, in terms of bills and expungements and things of that nature. We're going to hear a little bit more about it, and hopefully we can answer a lot of people's questions. People who are going to be watching this, we got a few questions from people, and hopefully we can get those answers, and and hopefully we can get some change going. John, so I guess what we want to do is we want to try and get before we go into questions, before we go into the heart of why we're here today, we want to, for those who are going to watch this and who are going to be subscribing to this YouTube channel, we want to know who is John Lombardi? Where are you from? Where you grew up? How has things been for you? And so on.
Well, thank you, Ramon and John, for having me today. You asked about the first one that was going to do the first joke. Well, you already took the first shot. So, you got me in the middle here, and I'm older than the both of you put together. But I think I could take the both of you. But that's
appreciate it.
Well, anyway, Ramon, yeah, thank you. Listen, I was born and brought up in Federal Hill. I've been there for 69 years.
69.
I've never left. I've lived in a 6-block radius. My father sat me down at the, we were, working poor, the lowest socioeconomic level. My father sat me down when I was about 10 and a half years old. And I was a nerdy kind of kid, glasses, skinny kid. I couldn't fight my way out of a paper bag. And my father said, look, your mom's got cancer. She's got ovarian cancer. She's probably going to, pass away. And about 2.5 years later, she passed away. And, man, I got angry. Oh, was I an angry kid? I have a brother who was 10 years younger than me. So I was in high school. About 6 months after that, I wake up in the morning, get ready to go to school. I hear somebody choking in the house. It's my father. My father was a World War II veteran. He was on his body. His job was to remove bodies from the field.
Wow.
And he took a massive stroke. He was in the Bristol nursing home, and that was it for me. So.
And you were at what age?
I was about 13 and a half, maybe 14.
Man.
And so I basically went on the streets, and I was living with my grandmother. We didn't speak English in the house. We lived on food stamps, rat-infested house. It was my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother rather, my brother, myself, and an uncle who was an alcoholic, who had did time in prison for he killed somebody in the military, and I got arrested. Started to get arrested. And I got arrested quite a few times, and I never forget going to my paternal grandmother's house, and my father was there. He's obviously very debilitated, and my aunt, who had married my uncle, my other uncle who had did time in prison for burglary. And interesting story about that. We used to go visit my uncle in prison, and he had the orange jumpsuit with DOC. And my aunt would say, my grandmother would say, "Oh, he's in college." And I used to say, "Oh, it's a true story." And I said,
That's a pretty.
"I
That's a
can't
pretty
wait to
good
go
one.
to college
common-
like this."
That's a common excuse
Well,
for a
yeah,
lot
I
of
said,
us.
well, I
Yeah.
can't wait to go to college like this. And man, I came this close. The true story. So anyway, my paternal side said, look, we don't want him. He's going to go in an orphanage. He's too much trouble, meaning me. And we'll take the other one. My aunt, who had an 8th grade education, who was not related by blood, she says, I got the answer for this. I'll take the both of them. And, I was forever indebted to her. But anyway, so that was it. But by the time I was 18, I went to college. By the time I was 18, I got arrested for something I didn't do. And I fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, and I won. And what I was guilty of was basically I walked into the middle of something that was going on in the middle of the day asking directions. But because I was with a guy who had a bad reputation, I knew that I was in trouble because when they put me in a little room, there was a chart of criminals in the state of Rhode Island. My guy was like, we're right up there. And I went, oh, boy. I guess I got a headache.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we took it all. I got found guilty at a trial, and then I prevailed in the Supreme Court by a vote of 2-1. And my passion was always wanting to be a teacher. So I have a degree in teaching. I also have a master's degree in secondary administration. But by the way, when I was, when we lived with my grandmother, we didn't speak English in the house. We spoke only Italian. And so, many of the things that people are feeling today, especially from the immigrant community, I've been through. I also understand how the unfairness of, law enforcement and courts and stuff, things of that sort. But anyway, as a follower, I couldn't get a job as a teacher, but I was always helping. So people would say to me, John, why don't you talk to my kid? He's going the wrong way, my daughter, my son. And that's how I did it. That's how I got involved in politics. And, just imagine a snot-nosed kid from Federal Hill, no money, no family. Then his colleagues make him the president of the city council. Cianci went to jail. I became the mayor of Providence. And, and then, I ran for rep. I became
So you were the mayor of Providence at one point?
Yeah, when Cianci went to jail for 4 months.
Holy cow, I didn't know
Well,
that.
and that's what I'm saying. If you had said that to me, when I was like 25,
I did not know that.
I didn't know
what
that.
the hell
What
are
the-
you guys smoking?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
I didn't. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait
yeah,
a minute.
yeah, yeah.
We got the mayor of
Well,
Providence.
right,
Yeah.
I-
Former mayor, but you
I
got to
thought
give him
so.
that title, man.
And you know what's funny? When I was there, I had the very first black woman to be the deputy president of the council, the very first Latino to be a majority leader, the very first black director of administration for the city of Providence, the very first black EEO officer, the very first black human relations officer. And I can go on and on.
Talk about change, huh?
But you see, you're gonna want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Action.
And that's one of the things. We could talk smack all day long. Unless we're going to do it with our actions, what are we going to do?
It's only going to take you so far, right?
Yeah, and so I got involved in politics
Nice.
in 1984, and I got elected, and
1984.
yeah, so I got elected as the city council. I was there for 26 and a half years. When I ran for mayor in 2010, I got beat by Angel Tavares, and I thought I was going to be out of politics. And then I didn't like the way the state rep was doing things. And I sat him down. I said, give me a reason why I got to vote for you. He couldn't give me a reason. So I said, I'm going to run against you. And the rest is history. So I've been there 9 years now. So here we are. But, my passion became practicing law. So I do a lot of pro bono work. But I do a lot of things that a lot of people don't do. So I do a lot of expungements. And let me go back. Something about expungements.
You said you do pro bono work?
I do some
That's
pro bono.
crazy. You know what? One of the
I do
things
some
when I was talking to Ramon was like pricing. Like, oh, what is it pricing? Like because we had mentioned this whole, the whole expungement law going into it.
Yeah.
And you were part of it. I was, me seeing it from the outside, I was thinking like, all right, he's gonna make a lot of money. He's gonna get all these people to come to him. But just hearing that you say that, like that.
Well, I've actually, the last 2 guys that I had, the police called me and said, can you help these guys? So one guy had 7 counts. But it was out of 1 incident. and I got that expunged. Another guy down in Washington County had 3 or 4, but again, it was a filing, it was a dismissal, it was a guilty.
It all depends on someone's situation.
Right now, it's really, you got to kind of pigeonhole it. And there's that thing that's not there is discretion. There's no discretion. But the unfair thing about this, prior to like 1985 was, even I had my charge was dismissed. There was no provision in the law that would allow you to seal and destroy it or expunge it because you were found not guilty. You were actually better off getting found guilty.
Why is that?
That was the law before.
No, why would it been better?
Because now they still had access to your record, and they would look it up and say, "Well, you got arrested with a gun." They don't say you were dismissed. You got arrested with drugs. They didn't say it was dismissed.
So even you was found not guilty,
it would stay on your record.
And you couldn't get rid of it.
You could not get rid of it.
Wow.
And if you remember the night that you testified, with the federal system.
Yeah, I heard. We were going to.
I mean, I have a friend who's a lawyer. He was found not guilty. In fact, we were talking about it this morning. And he says, imagine, for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to be defined by.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And it's because it's federal. Federal, there's nothing you can do.
Yes.
Man.
So, and here we are. And this is why, I mean, especially expungements and things of that sort. You really don't need a lawyer for this. What people forget to do is they'll go to court, they'll get it expunged, but they forget to send a certified copy to the police department.
Station.
They forget to send probation and parole.
Attorney General's
extra steps after.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to keep going. It doesn't stop just there.
Exactly. And you know, like some of this stuff. I mean, in my opinion, if the case is dismissed or you're found not guilty, it should be done automatically.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, I did that with when I was going through the process because when the Marijuana Act or law went through in Rhode Island,
Decriminalize, yes,
right, decriminalize marijuana, I went straight to filing motions in Superior Court. I had 3 simple possession of marijuanas, and the judge was. That's the one I was explaining. The judge, I don't know. I can't say for sure. That he didn't understand what the law was, or he just wasn't trying to deal with it at the time. But they expunged my record, but then they you got to take a copy to the police station which you got arrested in. Attorney General's got to get a copy. They're still part of the process. You have to keep going. You just can't expect that it's just going to come off your record.
Right.
And I always went back and checked. Okay, now it's off because I gave everybody their copy.
Well, but you got to remember too. There's a thing called a computer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I just heard about it last week. What the hell do I know about geography, right? There's another thing called a cloud. I always thought a cloud was either you were high or something.
I feel like I'm back at T-Mobile right now.
And this stuff really never goes away. So if they want to find it, they could. If law enforcement still has access to it. I mean, if you're going for a high security job, they have access to this stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? Since you actually, we were gonna. That was one of the questions.
Sure.
So since you just brought it, we'll go right into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So, the bill in which we are trying to, get before the House or get out of the House, or you would know more than I do. So it's Bill H. There are 2. So there's one that's still 20, which is 7086 H7086, and then H7304.
So 7086 is still up, or has it just been revised to the 7304?
No, they're both up.
They're both up.
So basically, what I thought was because it was revised, the other one was going to just not be there anymore. But that's not the case. So they're both still going up, or we're trying to get either one of them, whichever one we can get to pass. Later on we can start to tweak it if we need to, or whatever the case may be. So right now these bills are at the point where we testified on them, or I testified on, you did too. We represented it. And these bills are basically to explain there are requirements to these bills, right? So you can't, your charges have to be nonviolent. You have to have paid all of your court fines, court costs, all of those fees. Not been in trouble within was it 5 to 10 years, or
10 years.
10 years. You know,
Nothing pending.
nothing pending. So the difference between the two bills is one says 20 years after your completion of your sentence. So whatever the sentence you got, you know, if you got, I don't know, just a quick little example. If you got 5 years and you went and did, you know, a year in jail, now you got 4 years hanging when you get out, the completion of the sentence is 5 years. So if it's in 2000 and let's say 2015, 20 years after 2015,
Oof.
right? That's that bill. So 20 years after 2015, you will be able to file a motion to get your record
That's like
expunged.
serving a life sentence with a after doing your sentence, you're serving a life
And that's
sentence.
the problem.
With a
That's one of
felony
the
or
problems.
with
It's
all
just
this
too
on it.
much
Yeah,
time.
That's crazy.
And then the other one, which is H7304, it's 10 years after the 2015, the completion of your sentence, which is a little bit better. To I think it's okay.
Let me ask you a question though. Does that kind of like hurt your options or better your options? That you're bringing up two of the same? Like, is it just to give them like, because if they say 10 is too short, let's take 20 versus you just go with 10 and then that's the only option. So what do you think? Is that?
Well, in my humble opinion, I've only been there 9 years. There's people who've been there 20, 30 years. I mean, you have a very conservative branch of the Democratic Party up there, even though they're the majority. And then you got the Republicans, which are 10. I think that this gives them an opportunity to say, okay, and I think Ramon stated it quite eloquently. Even if we have to start it, don't forget, we started
so you
here.
want to? Yeah.
If we started here, we could always amend this down the road.
So your thing is like, I want to get,
We need to get something in the
two
books.
options to at least get one yes versus one option to at least get one.
Well, we need to try to get it in the
Yeah,
books.
yeah, okay.
Right.
We get it in the
Right.
books,
Right.
then later on we can try to address.
Okay,
address
okay,
it
that
further.
makes more
Right.
sense. I just didn't know if like bringing up
Yeah.
two would kind of like hurt
Listen,
the other one.
I always say you can always find a reason why you don't want to do something.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if that's your reasoning, well then shame on you. And I don't mean that for you.
No.
In other words, I would tell my colleague, well then I would look at their face and say, well, shame on you. You've got options here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can eat this one, then let's eat this one. So I mean, if I only have 37 votes for this one, but I got 38 for this one, we can't win with 37. We can win with 38.
Okay.
At least we got it in now.
Oh, that's
right?
cool.
At least we
Okay.
can work with
You
it.
know, in other words, I'm giving you. How do you want to land? You want to land hard or soft?
Yeah. No, and that like
And
the
I'm
way you put
sorry,
it, yeah, no, it sounds a lot
Listen,
better. I
I've
just
heard-
didn't know if it was.
Listen, I hear you. You're not the first person. I am not offended by that. I just know the nature of the beast a little
Yeah.
better than most people.
So, I mean, going back to those are the breakdowns of each individual law. I mean, I'm sorry, bill. So one of the questions were, and you touched on it a little bit, is after the fact, right? Let's say the 10-year one rolls around, it passes, it's in the books now. Okay, now we can, those who fit those requirements can now go file a motion.
Senate would have to pass it,
Senate would have to pass it.
and then the governor would have to sign it.
Okay. If it goes to that process,
Yes.
and then everything is, you get thumbs ups on all
Then
across
right
the
away,
board.
boom.
Now, if let's say
It takes effect on
upon passage, gotcha.
So if it passed June 1st, June 2nd, you can go in.
Wow.
I like to
what's
hear
that?
that. I
He's
like
like,
to hear
yeah.
that. I like to hear that.
He's like, give me an exact date. 'cause Ramon's
Let's
already
go-
planning
listen,
for the day
call
after.
your constituents. Call your district leaders. Let's do this. Call.
Don't
Tell
call
them.
don't call your constituent. Have your friends, email your friends, text your friends, and I don't mean. to
No,
jump in.
correct me,
And
please.
look at your list of state representatives and let them know how important this is, because like we know people who've been touched by cancer. We know people who've been touched by drug abuse. We know people who've been touched by COVID. We've all have people in our families. Guess what? We have people in our families or close friends that are definitely affected by this.
Definitely. I agree. I appreciate that. And so, upon passage, June 1st, it passes, right? Boom. If I go in there and I get an expungement, everything goes well.
Based on this.
on this bill, my record is expunged. They grant it, right? I go to court, do all the the process. They grant it. What happens afterwards? Is my record completely sealed?
No. That's the difference between an expungement and a sealing. But again, as I stated earlier, I stated it tongue-in-cheek, but there's this dastardly thing called a computer, And there's this other dastardly thing called a
Well,
call.
what would I be able to do? My
so-
rights are restored. Are my rights restored?
Would he be able to
But
still?
what rights do you think you don't have right now?
Rights to bear arms, rights to hold office, rights to.
No. First of all, you can hold office. So whoever told you that is
I was under the impression. Okay.
no. Listen, there are people. In 2010, we changed that think because you did time in prison, you couldn't vote.
Well, voting, I know I had. That's the only one I
Yeah,
thought
but
I had
people-
back.
No, but people, especially in the minority community, think they can't vote because man, I did time.
Oh,
I
they
can't
still
vote.
think, even though it's not.
We
Yeah,
changed
okay.
that.
So
in
let's
2010.
clear that up.
Yeah, because that's important.
If you have
That's
a felony
good.
record, you can vote. Please.
As long as you're not serving time. So
Okay.
I often make the joke in Federal Hill. I say, well, look, in the suburbs, people are going away in the military, they're going away to school, they're going away whatever. But I said, in my neighborhood, I got to worry about guys that are being held without bail, but they haven't been sentenced. So I got to go get a mail ballot application, take it to the prison, have them sign it, have them have it mailed to their house, and then have their family bring it there, or I bring it there, and they can vote.
Wow. Okay.
They can vote. If you're being held without bail and haven't been sentenced, you can vote.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
But see, in the minority community especially, and this isn't a knock to anybody,
No,
they are not aware of that.
they're not aware of a lot of things, and this is the point of this
Exactly.
podcast: is to share
Exactly.
to share the message, and
Amen.
to get it out there.
Amen.
Definitely.
Yep.
So I mean, okay.
So to answer your question, it's never sealed and destroys. Police have access to it all the time.
So if it's expunged, can I become a police officer?
Sure.
I can file an
Yeah,
application.
but they will have.
They'll still be able to pull up my record.
Oh, absolutely.
But now you can, right? You can't.
Now I
you can't
cannot.
hold a state job with a felony.
Now I
right? Is that
cannot.
what it is? Is it- I
If
mean,
it's expunged, of course you can.
no, if it's not expunged, like now, if he
Well,
wanted to.
hey, look.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you
yeah,
think? Let's be honest. There's three young ladies. Okay. Do you think there's anybody who works for the state or the city who
That doesn't have a felony. I know there is. I know for a
I
fact
don't
there
know
is.
anybody.
Hello.
Well, my wife works for the state.
It's
Hello.
It's Rhode Island. It's come on. It's. I don't
Come
want
on.
to say it like I don't want to say it's all who you know, but
Well,
it is what it is. right?
Look. I mean, you have a youthful indiscretion. I have a few friends that are murderers. I would trust them with anything.
I heard you say that too on the live TV on the
That's a
on the
true
Capitol
I looked
TV.
at everybody's face.
I was like,
Listen to me. I would trust them more than most people in that room.
I heard that one. I was like, holy cow! He
Yeah, I
really
mean,
said, I mean,
look,
but it is.
They could have done it because of they were put in a
Was
bad
it youthful?
situation.
Well, they walked in.
Yeah.
Their wife was cheating.
We're not
on
talking
them.
about-
somebody bothered. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not talking about Craig
Yeah.
Price type
No,
killing.
no,
you know,
no,
we're,
no,
you know,
no,
we're talking about just honest guys who just made a mistake.
That's
right?
right. That's right. It's called a crime of passion.
Crime of passion. Exactly. And all right. So not to keep this going, but
No, keep it going.
so I just want to make sure that I understand. If my record is expunged, all I truly want is to basically be able to have the same rights and be able to do the same thing as any just citizens who's never been involved, right, in anything.
Well, don't look at me. I've been involved.
That's why I said
Hey, over here.
that guy right there, just like that guy.
there you go.
That guy.
Let's take me as the example. I got charged with felonies. I was able to go to law school. I mean, I know guys that did time in the can that are lawyers.
Well, and that was part of my testimony. Whereas like getting employment, education, anything like that, being a felon never came
Well,
up.
It shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Right.
know, and
Right.
to me, it's almost discriminatory.
Discriminatory. That's my main concern, is that I go through this whole thing, get my record expunged, everything is now good and dandy now, but what if I wanted to go, let's just say I wanted to be a police officer. They have the right to still look up my file.
Correct.
But then they can just discriminate against me.
Yeah, but here's how they, in the minority community, there's a different kind of weapon. So what do I look up first? If what's one of the best way for me to disqualify somebody from being a police officer?
Having a record, I think.
Okay, what do you think?
References?
What about that you have a poor economic background? You owe money. You've been late on your. What about that one?
Oh,
Like credit
Your
and-
credit,
and-
really? I didn't think that one
Credit
played.
check.
that-
I
Yeah, I didn't-
used to hear that, but I didn't think people actually looked at me. Like employment, growing like in the last few years, let's say the last 10 years, they've never asked me for anything in terms of credit.
Because if I plug your record up, I'll get all your traffic charges, all your criminal charges, all the times you've been sued, all the people you've been sued, that you've sued, all your workman's comp claims. I can get that right now if I wanted. Well, I did it with you.
Yeah.
But he asked
Oh
me
boy.
Oh, okay.
He asked me to. Only because he asked me. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you know that.
Nope,
right? You
nope.
and I
All
had that
good.
conversation.
I have nothing to hide. I have nothing. You check. If my credit will get me that job, check my credit.
Yeah.
My credit's good. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, look, when someone comes to see me and they say, well, I had a fight. So Ramon comes to see me. He says, I had to fight with this jerk John, and and it's very first thing I do after I look at his record is I look up your record.
Really? Wow. Why is that?
Oh, because suppose you've been charged with assault a few times. Suppose there was a domestic assault. Suppose, in other words, I got to look to see, maybe this guy was defending himself.
Yeah.
Maybe
you were
it's
the bully.
self-defense.
Oh, yeah. I
Maybe
see
you
his
were the bad
credibility.
guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you were high as a kite. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I didn't even.
Well,
That's another way of looking at it for sure.
Well, you have to look at it
Yeah.
that way.
You got to look at the opposing side on everything. right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I get it. John, is there a question
I'm
you
just awing you, huh, John? I could tell.
Yeah,
no,
he's,
you can
he's,
get it.
he's,
No,
he's eating right now. Like his mind is everywhere right now.
I'm listening and I'm just
Yeah.
I'm soaking everything in.
So, but I still don't think I answered your question. The answer is it's expunged.
But
the
they
question
can,
is
yeah.
the question is how do you what's in your heart about if you want to get rid of somebody, you could say, look, I don't like your mustache. I mean, I don't like the color of your skin. I don't like
And I
your
know where you're going with
tattoos.
that. I know where you're going with
know
that.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So if you want to find a reason, there's always a reason.
Right. And again, my thing too also is, like I testified before, to me it's all about your approach, right?
Right.
So if I get my record expunged and everything goes well, and I go to, let's say I get a meeting with the chief of police,
Yeah.
and I can explain to him, talk to him, tell him
Sure.
exactly who I am, give him, look, here's my record or whatever the case may be. But here's the process I've taken to
Yeah.
get to this point. You know what I mean? You're looking at someone who's actually, done what he needed
But
to do.
again, Ramon, there are police officers that have had sordid past.
No.
Can,
I
can I
gotcha.
ask you so
That makes
like
sense.
Sure.
if you
Ask me whatever you want.
if you get pulled over now like us with a felon like when they ask you for your driver's license and they go back they're checking all this, they can check all this.
It all pops up.
So
Yeah.
if you get it expunged, does it still pop up or is it just
Well,
like
I
again,
don't know.
police have access to this stuff.
well is it
Well,
to,
here's
up to this
here's
up
the
to
question. Okay, Mr. John, have you ever been arrested before? And your record's been expunged. What's your answer?
I mean, from what I read, it says you could say no,
Okay, you're a friggin' liar.
but you could
In
say
my head.
yeah, no, I know, but you could
Because
say no
I've
for a
got-
job or for like once you get
Yes.
expunged, yeah, right? You could say
but,
no
but
for
remember, if it's a security job and it says, have you ever been arrested versus have you ever been convicted?
what?
Have you ever been arrested
Okay,
or
that
have
one.
you ever been convicted?
Yeah, that's two different ones. Okay.
So the answer is no on the conviction. Have you ever been arrested?
yes.
So
Oh.
I'm sitting for my bar exam. My mentor lawyer.
Good way to look because those two questions are really tricky. I
Oh, sure,
would have got confused there. Like,
Well, but now you look like a liar, though.
yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm trying to
That
prove. is, like,
tells
I
me
don't-
something
yeah,
about you. You can't even admit that you got arrested. You lied on that.
Yeah.
I admit it all.
You
Well,
know?
I'm
I
saying
tell
it
people
as
everything.
far as like getting pulled over and somebody saying, "Oh, police officer asking, have you ever been arrested?" And you're like, "No, I got that expunged already." So I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, right.
Just like
But
every.
if you say no and you say it got expunged, that means you had a record.
Yeah. So you just
so
told
now
him that
now
either
he
way.
just opened the door for him to
Hey,
look even
thank you.
deeper.
Thank you.
Versus him just going checking.
So my mentor attorney says to me, well, he said, I noticed here you said you got arrested and your record was expunged. I says, yeah. I said, but I wasn't convicted. Yeah, but what were you arrested for? It was the most uncomfortable thing in the world. And now I had to explain to him. And now he starts to tell me, well, we don't know if we want your kind, he's basically saying.
What the hell?
person who's been convicted or
Well,
charged or whatever.
Yeah,
the
with the
case may be.
charge, yeah. So I was like, I said, what are you saying?
That's great.
Well, it's true. That's a true story. I mean, it was embarrassing, but you know what? Sometimes you come to that line.
How long ago was that?
Well, before you were born, I can tell you that much. Well, it was 87. It was 1987.
All in all, it seems like there's still a lot of hurdles to
Yeah.
Sure.
to get through. You know,
Listen, I still hear to this day, and I'm going to be 70 in a couple of months. Gee, remember when
This guy
you
looks super young for 70. Holy
remember
cow.
when you got arrested? I mean, is that how you're going to define me? Because I got arrested?
Yeah.
I go through it all the time, man. All the time.
I don't want to be defined by that.
No. My last, I just wanted
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
share my last. Before I opened up my own company, I was working for Heart Design Engineering out in Cumberland, doing instrumentation designing, and when I first applied for the job, they brought me in, did an oral interview and everything like that, and whatever the case may be. They gave me a little, not an exam, but they gave me paperwork to make sure I knew what I was looking at, and I passed it all, everything. Boom. They offered me the job. I filled out the paperwork and everything like that. I was there a year, and then I got called in the office a year later. And when they called me in the office, they're laughing. I'm like, okay, what are you laughing for? We're talking about the president, vice president. They're laughing, and they're like, there's no way that you are all of this paperwork.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what do you mean? He's
So
like,
they
we
both-
just printed out your record, and there's no way. They're laughing. It's like, how did you do all of this?
My question to them would have been like, why is this even an option now? Like, why is this even on the table
Well,
a year later?
I knew it was going to come up at some point, but I was honest with them. They asked me if I had a record, and I said, sure. They said, oh, how long? I said, you're looking at probably 10 years. You know, they said, oh, we only go back 5. Well, you know, we won't go back any further than that. They went back further than that. So they obviously printed out my whole thing. And my point is, you know, I was honest with them. I explained to them, look, that was a past. You didn't know who I was initially until you saw that paperwork, right? So, but don't change how you feel about me now. You know, for the last year, I've been to your houses. You know, I've done work for you guys. We've partied, whatever. You know, don't judge me on what you see on paper now. And I left because I felt like there was, you know, one of the people who he was a mentor to me. Kind of, I felt the difference. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, I'm out. I'm out of here. You know, but the whole point is always be honest. You know, if you got a record, you know, you just don't give anyone a reason to go and, you know, look up your record, and then they're gonna judge you, and, you know, just be honest about about yourself, and you'll go further, man.
Well, you are who you are. I mean, Ramon, you're a gentleman. You could, I mean, and when I told you that night, I said, that's the most compelling testimony I've heard in my 36 years of being in politics, because it was emotional, it was raw, and it was very heartfelt.
Yeah.
And there were very few dry eyes in that room. If you know what I'm trying to say.
You know, and I want to say, I think it was good timing.
Yes.
Like, I didn't plan it, but I think it was good timing, because the next.
Listen, you're a man's man. There's no way you planned that.
Well, see, when you guys you did it right, because you went up before me, and then you guys were all talking about kids and things, and then I was already screwed up by the time I went up there. I was like, that's it. Yeah. So me testifying, it was just, you know, now I'm like, the emotions already started to come through.
Well,
you know
you're
what
the
I mean?
example.
So
I can only talk about things.
Yeah.
You were the example. You can't go to your kids' events. You can't get certain jobs. You can't housing. You know, you were the example. You were the living, breathing example.
I felt like after he spoke, and then Felix.
She was before me. That was like Representative
Leonella
Felix.
Representative Felix, and then after she spoke, it was like they already had mentioned everything that you wanted to say.
Everything that I wanted to say.
And I was like, they already mentioned everything. I feel like
Wait, look at that lady. That lady's going to be a total champion.
Oh, she's going to be on here.
She's
we got to
total
schedule a day.
champion, that kid. That kid was supposed to go to jail. She was totally on the wrong track. She passed the bar exam, and now she's going to take the bar exam here. I love that kid. And she's the quintessential example for the minority community, for women, for everyone.
I agree, man.
Yeah,
and it's all in here.
Yeah. You gotta know how bad you want it. You know, how bad do you want it, right? How bad you want it.
I like whole.
And that's what I'm saying. You're worried. She was a convicted felon.
And that's why I say I think it was good timing, because now the latest testimony in which you had to go, everyone who went up, and it's because of the bill. I don't know the actual name of the bill, but it's the giving lifers the opportunity to go up in 20 years.
Oh yeah, I seen that one come up too. Yeah.
There were like 50 people.
Are you
testifying.
behind that one too, John? Of
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were like 50 people testimony, or like 30 to 50 people testifying, but every one of them cried. Right. So now everybody's crying, and I'm like, yeah, this wouldn't be a good day for me to cry. You know what I mean? I think it was perfect time. And the last one it worked perfectly. You know, and then
It did work perfectly.
You know, so, but nonetheless, how do you feel about that bill?
Which one?
Again, I don't know
the other bill?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
one
yeah.
Oh,
before
I just told him I support 1,000%. I was one of the people that spoke on behalf. Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
So giving lifers the opportunity to go up for parole in 20 years.
Listen, I believe
Giving them hope.
But I believe in second and third. Again, you may catch a guy that killed somebody out of passion. You know, that guy should spend the rest of his life in jail. Now, we're not talking about Greg Price, right?
Yeah, we're not talking about those type of violent offenses.
I mean, I got some names out, but I don't want to mention them because they're dear friends. I know they wouldn't be offended, but the guys that I work with in the community, people re-entering, they'll call me and say, John, it was funny. One of them said, he called me, he says, John, I think it's time I get my conviction. I said, first degree murder, I don't think it's going to happen. I said, I love you to death, but listen, if I can make it go away, and this guy's a preacher, and he's a musician, he's my dear friend, I love him to death, I hug him, but there's certain things you can't, but because that's one of the exclusions.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately,
but
it is.
I do support that bill.
Okay. And unfortunately, it is. I mean, would you agree that, we're trying to get you've been the forefront of this and getting it to the point where it is, and hopefully we get it further. But would you agree that for individuals who getting a job is tough for a lot of people, right? Getting a job is tough when you have these type of convictions and things of that nature.
Housing,
credit,
I didn't know that.
It plays a part.
Not being able to attend your child's,
right,
graduation,
right,
or whatever,
exactly. Not being able to be a chaperone at your kids' events, things of that nature, which I had to endure, which is sad. But would you agree that for those individuals who are struggling with this, what would you say to them in terms of, because there are a lot of people out there who this really affects, but they don't, again, the minority class, they don't understand the process. Either they're afraid of the process, they don't want to take the initiative. Yes, it's work. You're doing the legwork. You have to do it if you want that change. What would you say to those, those individuals who want the change but are just, I don't want to say afraid, or if they are afraid, what would be the first step for them to take?
Or they feel disenfranchised.
Right.
All those politicians are crooks. But right. That's all okay. You internalize this, personalize this, and say, look, what? And by the way, call my number, call my office, 401-404-4700. I do this. You can't imagine the number of times I do this in the course of a week.
Yeah, I called John. I said, John. When I first called him, John, listen, I tried to tell him my story and everything. He's like, yeah, listen, this is what you got to do. You got to go over here. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got here, yeah. Call my office. Call myself a cell phone. We'll make it happen. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
but there are guys like men and women that are like that. The problem is you got to find them, because everybody thinks, this is going to cost me $1 zillion. Look, if it's something where I got to go to Washington County, I got to go to Kent County, I got to go to Superior Court, I got to go to District Court, I got to go to Province, I'm probably going to charge you. I mean, unless there's a real compelling case.
Right.
But
everybody's situation is different.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I was telling John.
It's too important not to pursue it. That's my opinion.
Yep.
And if it's going to stymie you from the things that you eloquently listed, the credit, the housing, and not spend. I don't have children, but that would absolutely kill me. That would kill me. That would send me over the top.
Let me ask you this though: if it does pass and you can get all your record
Yeah.
expunged, is there a fee like for them to go? Like if your 10 years already passed and you're like in remote stands where you already did your time, you're ready to go. Is there a fee for them to go in and just get it expunged, or is it just like
No, there is a $100 fee usually with expungement, but I think we passed something last year that depending on your situation. But you know what? What's $100?
Yeah, $100. I thought you were gonna say more than that,
look,
but yeah, $100 is not the deal.
today means a lot.
That's to file the
Yeah.
motion to
Yeah,
actually the expungement motion. But I know because you touched on it just a little bit. You shouldn't be afraid
Right.
that it's going to cost you, a lot of money
Right.
to clean your record. If you really want it, if you want it that bad, I'm sure if you call John, and he'll work it out with you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
But you don't need a lawyer to do it, though, Ramon. That's the good thing about it.
Right. I didn't,
That's cool, 'cause
filing the
that's-
motions.
A lot of people get like turned down from
Well,
like,
but
stuff
they
like
get
that.
intimidated.
Yeah, intimidated.
And
Like, hey, I gotta
listen,
do.
I get intimidated sometimes by the process. It's like, okay.
I didn't have a lawyer going into doing the expungements for the marijuana.
There was another bill too that was passing the
So-
one for the.
So
for the
there's
fees.
two other ones. One for I don't know if it's two, maybe it's just one, but there was one for court fines and
Yep.
court costs.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do is, I guess, eliminate those who, I guess, based on your circumstance, they're trying to wipe it out. Because that's a major.
How you feel about that though? Like getting somebody's. I mean,
do you think
fees
it,
waived? Like how much? How much is getting waived? Because my whole thing is like. If this is a law that's gonna pass or like a
it's a bill? It's a bill that has to go through the same process.
Like, I feel like they should be like wiping off other things, like student loans in Rhode Island. I don't know.
Well, we're
It's just-
talking about. We're
I know,
talking
but
about-
at the same time, it's like if you're wiping off, I'm not making it personal, but if you're wiping off like a criminal's like balance that he owes over, if he, what do you say when you crash or when you steal something and what do you call that?
Oh, you're talking about restitution.
Yeah, like if you're wiping off their restitution, like you should be like.
I'm not sure that's
Okay, because that's what I was thinking of when you
No,
when you said.
court
I'm like,
costs and
then
court
you
fines is
should
based
be-
on whenever you go to.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
but
go ahead.
It's obviously a case-by-case basis.
Right.
In fact, a lot of judges, when I'm in a courtroom, they'll say, like, someone have a question about expungement, they say, well, hey, you happen to be lucky today. There's the guy right there. And everybody's looking at me, and I'm going like, okay.
There's a line forming.
One of the things that I think, and this was not my idea, this was a magistrate in Superior Court said, well, maybe what you can do, the best way to do this maybe, because of the word discretion, which we haven't talked about, we got to give judges discretion to do these kinds of things, okay? I think that would be the easier way. You wouldn't even need this. If
So it's all up to the judge if they.
Exactly. Now, there are a couple of judges that do, but others say, hey, talk to him. He's going to change the law. So
I only bring it up because
Yeah.
he had mentioned that he went to a friend's house and he's got like wow, you got all your court fees waived and all. He's like, I got a lot of court fees and all this,
Yeah. So yesterday I was with a couple friends of mine, and they've grown up, friends that I grew up with, and we've all been through the system.
Sure.
They all have court fines and court costs. So when I was telling them my story and we were watching the videos, the podcasts, and the testimonies, they're asking me, oh, well, she actually wiped out all of your court fines and court. I said, yeah, but don't make it. I don't want you to think that you could just go up there and it's going to happen.
Make
no.
a case.
Yeah, you got to make a case. You got to argue something. You got to. She felt how motivated I was, to try and get that pardon at the time when I thought I can get a pardon.
And isn't that what should matter?
Exactly. Of course.
Not
100%.
the raw law. Not the,
Right.
well, this word is the
Right.
rather than
Right.
the.
Right. And so going back to let me ask that in the form of a question in terms of discretion, right? If let's say neither one of these fly, okay, come January 1st, none of them fly.
June 1st.
I'm sorry, June 1st. What would it take to make it? Is it paperwork that needs to happen in terms of giving the judges the discretion? Is that or does someone just say, okay, we're not going to pass these, but we'll give the judge the discretion?
Well, that wouldn't
How
be
does
us
that work?
because remember that's a separate branch of government.
Okay.
So we're co-equal branches of government. You have the executive, which is the governor. You have the legislative, which is us in the Senate. And then you have the judicial. I mean, like I just gave you an example, and you just gave an example of yourself where the judge used their discretion.
Right.
Now, is that judge in trouble because they violated? Now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I want a judge to use the discretion, and I think judges want the discretion.
So I guess the question is, do they have it right now for something like this?
Well, you tell me what happened with you.
Well, I haven't gone up for
Well, that was that was
Did you
for
have
that was
discretion? Did your judge have discretion?
for my court fines. Yes.
Okay.
But I'm talking about expungement of the record, though.
I'm telling you that there are judges
All right, I got you.
that
I got you.
you know, if you make the case, you have the great example. There are other examples that I can give you. Yes.
that's hope right there.
No, that just
Like just
lit up a
that's-
light.
yeah.
I tell you right now.
Now,
Okay.
judges may get angry with what I'm saying, but I'm telling you, there are judges that, but if the AG, if the Attorney General objects, say, under the law, blah, 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 most judges are going to say no.
I feel like that's probably what's going to happen anyway. If I went in front of a judge right now and just asked for leniency and asked them for their discretion, they're probably going to say no because it didn't come from the governor.
Yeah, but I think that's a slippery slope if we have other branches of government telling the judicial branch. I'm a municipal court judge.
Yeah.
I don't like it when in Providence, the municipal court. I'll give you a stupid example: a boot fee. Boot fee is $100
On your car.
For the car, yeah.
Once they put the boot on, in addition to what you owe a $100 boot fee.
Okay.
Okay, so the person said, now this was a situation where I think the lady had 8 kids or 6 kids. They were living in a car. You know what?
Wow.
I'd rather pay it out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she owed like $30-something $100, and she put all her kids through college.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it was she had a Sunday go to meetings on. She looked great, this woman. And I said, here's what I'm going to do with you. I charged her $300, and I waived the boot fee. The company filed a complaint against me. They sent a letter. And so my answer is, wait a minute. Executive branch can't tell the judiciary what they want to do. I have discretion, not you.
Gotcha.
How much was the whole fee?
Oh, it was $335. I reduced the 3,000 change to 300.
Whew.
This
3,000 they were
Talk about doing
charging?
it for the people, man.
Well, everything tripled on it.
Oh, because she probably let it stay
Your
there
Honor,
overnight.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. She said, there's never been a man in their life. She said, their fathers, whatever. She said, we were living in cars and I was moving around. So how are you ever going to nail this woman down? Now, by the way, how are you going to notice her to say you've got to be in court?
Yeah. Like if
Because she's homeless one week, she's living in a shelter another week. And
Not stable. How would you actually?
Well, but you know what the fun? I had more fun with this woman. She said to me, she says, Your Honor, I said, pray tell. I said, tell me what this is all about. She says, the last one's out of the house. I says, so I pick up the book because, I'm the eternal joker. There's a book like this of ordinances I want. I said, I don't see that defense here. She goes, well, Your Honor, let me explain this to you. She said, it was 6 kids. I said 8. She says, the last one graduated from college, and I'm proud of that. I said, wait a minute. I said, you're telling me you were homeless. There
And
was
your
no
kids
man in
still
your
graduated
life.
college.
You got 6 kids through college. I said, you know something? You're my hero.
that's amazing, actually. Yo. That's crazy.
Homeless? Come on.
That's
I said, you're amazing, I said.
They need to give her an award.
Amen. I said, this is what we're going to do. I says, and if you can't pay it, I'll pay it for you. She said, no. She says, no. I greatly appreciate it. She said, could I have some time to pay it? I said, absolutely. But
Sweet.
my point was about the $100 boot fee. I said, I'm not going to allow executive branch of government to tell the judiciary that we're co-equal. So the three of us are co-equal. We're all as tough as one another, but you got your own thing you got to do. You got your own thing you got to do, and I got my own thing. You can't tell me what to do. I can't tell you what to do. You can't tell him what to do.
Yeah, everybody has their own.
You got to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
You stay in your lane.
Yep. I got you. Well, man, that's a lot of information. So
That was a good story, man. I mean,
That's a true story.
that's a true story too. That's what I was like,
It's on the record.
Listen,
I got a little tear coming right now. I was listening to it. I was
Hey,
like, damn,
I got
6
a better one
kids,
for
man.
you.
That's crazy.
You want a
like-
better story than this? Just go to your point. This is to you and what you guys
keep
are
it going,
fighting.
John. John Lombardi here, folks.
A black man. He probably dressed. Came to court. He was either dressed like you the way you are now, but maybe a little better than that. Not that
He
you're
ironed
dressed
his
better.
shirt. I forgot to iron it
But-
this morning.
Guy comes
Better
in.
than this?
Guy comes in. He's he says. I said, so what's going on? I said, you owe $800 and something. He says, yeah, you're on. He says, that little tough time. I said, so what's going on? He says, well, I was in University of Pennsylvania. I was in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania House of Corrections. I said, oh, yeah? I said, so what were you there for? He said, oh, it's all stupid things and all this here. So I said, you working? He says, nah. He said, but I got a couple of things in the fire. I said, what else is going on? He said, nah, I'm pursuing some other stuff to benefit myself. I said, all right. I said, here's what I'm going to do with you. I says, you come back. First of all, I want to see what you were in prison for. Second of all, I want to know what you were doing, what you're doing. And I hope you come back with a good story. You can come back in 6 months. Swear to God, let me drop right now if I'm lying about this. 6 months later, comes a guy dressed in a suit. I mean, he looked like Ruba Rosa. Oh, he was like, I went, yes, sir. He goes, Your Honor, you don't remember me, do you? I says, no, I'm sorry, sir, I don't. Well-groomed, perfect gentleman. He says, I'm the guy that was in. I said, oh, yeah, I do remember that. I said, you got something for me? He said, yes. Your Honor, may I go in my pocket? I said, of course. He takes out an envelope. He gives it to the clerk. Gives it to me. I'm looking at it. Burglary, drugs, whatever.
Oh, it was his record.
His record. I said, oh, I guess you were telling. I guess you did okay at the University of Pennsylvania. He started to laugh, right? He says, Your Honor, but I do have something else for you. I said, what's that, sir? He says, may I go in my pocket? This guy knew. He played me like a Stradivarius, but this is how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
He goes, oh,
His successes.
you graduated from college? He said, yeah, I got my degree, whatever. I said, oh, I said, I'm impressed. He goes, oh, Your Honor, I'm not done yet.
What else you got?
What else do I got? Listen to this. To your point. He says, Your Honor, may I get my phone? I said, sure. It's an ID, a federal ID. He goes, yeah, Your Honor. He says, I got a job in the post office.
As
to
a
your
felon.
point. To your point.
Yeah.
Convicted felon did 4 years in the can. You know what I did? And this is how you got to reward people. You know something? I respect you for being what you are. You're a man of your word. You're a total gentleman. And I'm going to give you a break today. I'm going to charge you $35 court cost. That's it. Because you kept your word.
Yeah. He basically didn't let that record, stop him from succeeding. And he proved to the judge.
That was a black man.
Yeah. That's how you're supposed to address the situation. Always. And that's why when I go to court, I dress accordingly.
Yep.
That's one thing. I've seen the judge actually, because a person came and was dressed accordingly. So 2 incidents. One guy that went up to court, and this is while I was waiting to be heard. A guy he showed up and he had a hoodie on and baggy jeans, and he only owed I think he owed like $100. The judge was like, no, go downstairs and pay for it. No leniency. The guy came up, he showed up, he owed like $2,000, and he had a nice suit on and whatnot, and she's like, well, what you been doing? He's like, oh, I work. I just took the bus here. Blah 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 blah. All right, we'll give you a break. $200.
Wow.
I've seen it just because he was dressed, accordingly. You gotta.
So you gotta show, like you gotta
show that you mean it, you want it.
Yeah,
man.
that's true. Though.
And
I
so
never thought about it like that
yeah.
because I'm not.
And that goes back to discretion, man. That's so I understand. I get it now. I truly get it now.
But look, listen. The point of all this, we gotta start eliminating these barriers that are holding people back.
Right.
Not only for their housing, not only for employment, but again, just to spend some time with your children, your family.
Yeah.
So, and that's as I indicated to you earlier. Deferred sentences. It took me 3 years to get that law changed, where a deferred sentence, which is not a conviction. So if you had a 5-year deferred, they considered that a conviction. You had to wait 15 years before you got that off your record. I got that changed, the law changed to after the 5 years is over, boom, you get it expunged.
Wow. When was that?
3 or 4 years ago. But it took a lot of work. I mean, it's listen. These kinds of bills, like the lifers, a lot of people in that room, they're like, why is that guy doing? Because there are people on this earth, and we all know these people. We know people like this. The fact that you got arrested, you must have did something wrong.
Oh yeah, that's.
And I want to say this,
I think
part
that's
of
how everybody thinks nowadays. It's like
part of this bill, my thing is, and this is my opinion, this bill, even if they don't want to pass it for whatever reason, I don't know what it takes, because the 20-year one has been coming up for a few years now, right? And it's not been gaining any traction.
No.
It hasn't gone anywhere. No. So I didn't know, or I don't know why. Why is the main reason why they will not say yes and let's do it? So I'm like, why not? I'm ready to go on probation again for something like this. Like, if you want to keep, use me as an individual who, let's try it out. We'll put you on a 2-year probationary period for this or whatever the case may be. I'm willing to do something like that. You know what I mean? Just
but
for
you've already
whatever.
paid your dues, though. You
that's
wait.
what.
Well, not the
I would-
probation, not probation in terms of having to go
Oh,
see.
meaning the test case.
Just
for this.
be a test,
I see what you're
the
saying,
test
yeah.
dummy. Just to make sure that it's.
Yeah, but you know what though, Ramon? With all due respect, and I understand, and I commend you for thinking that way. If one person gets incarcerated or is not able to clean their record up, and we get it wrong 1,000 times, 900, if it's 1,000 times, if it affects one, and we get it right on one, you know what?
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
I agree.
Listen, some people have larceny in their heart. Some people have bad things in their heart. There's nothing you could do about that.
Gotcha.
But listen, you'd be a great prototype. You know what I mean? Why not? Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know you that well.
I'm in.
No, I know you are. I know you are. I know you are. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, to your point again, Washington County cops called me, said, "Can you help this guy out? A black man. He works for a security company." We walk in the mall with myself and another guy. We walk 2 or 3 days a week, and this guy says, "You look familiar. What's your name?" He's a security guy. Here we go. I'm going to get arrested. I haven't been arrested in 50 years, but here we go again. And he goes, "Are you John Lombardi?" He says, "I'm the guy you helped." He says, "Guess what?" He says, "I applied with the police department. I'm this close to getting it." To answer your question.
Yeah.
To answer your question, by the way.
I can add to that. I have a friend who actually works with East Providence Police.
Okay, there you go.
He works with the chief.
There you go.
And he basically, I'm not going to say any names, but he basically gave my record to the chief. And long story short, he came back to me and told me, if he didn't have this on his record, I would have given him a chance.
There you go.
So
There
I
you
do.
go.
I do believe, man. Discretion is everything.
And you know what? We need guys like you guys to be cops because you get it. You understand. You've already got cred. You know, lots of times they hire people from out of state. They don't know the difference between, like in Providence, Grove Street and Grove Avenue, Broad
Yeah,
Street
yeah.
and Broadway. You know,
Two different elements, man. Two different
Yeah, that is
elements.
true, though.
yeah,
Two different elements.
yeah. Amen to that.
John, were you a judge?
I am a judge.
He is a judge. Well,
Municipal court.
I heard that
You know
earlier
Frank
too. I was like,
Caprio?
Yeah.
I'm underneath him.
Holy smokes! I did not know that.
you didn't know. I just found
Listen,
out today too.
This
But
isn't about me.
No. I mean, we need more judges like John Lombardi.
But that's why I like to serve as an example. I do with my actions. Like I gave you the example. I show you the homelessness. Wow. You know, I mean.
oh yeah, you
They
talked
needed
about that when you got here.
They
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
$5,000 to keep this thing going, and then they said, "Well, we want to do an article." I said, "No, I don't want you to do an article about me. You're doing God's work." I told you I helped with the Wilson Street
Amen to that.
thing. You know, I mean, listen, leave your ego out the door.
Could you ask me? I got a simple question for you.
Yeah.
Judge, magistrate. What's the difference?
All right. So a magistrate does not have the full power of a judge. But in which court? Tell me which court. So, like we don't have it in the municipal court.
Okay.
So,
Superior.
All right, Superior Court. Yeah. So they they do the fines, the fees, all that stuff. So they can do sentences if it's
That's a
agreed on.
magistrate.
Yes, as
Okay.
a magistrate. But they don't. Generally, they can't hear trials.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, my wife.
That's a wife question. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, my wife. Because we had a podcast and I was saying that magistrate is a judge, but I had it wrong. And
Well, it's
she was
a
right.
10-year term.
gotcha. That's a difference between the two.
The judge is a lifetime.
Oh, judge's lifetime. Magistrate's
Magistrate
10-year
every
term.
10 years. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just to recap, these two bills, H7086 and H7304, expungement bills. One is 20 years after completion of sentence. The other is 10 years after completion of the sentence. John, if you had to, tell people who are watching, who will be watching, who are tuned in and will be tuned in, what's next? What do they need to do to support? What do they need? You mentioned it earlier. But just wanted to recap on that
Sure.
again. What do you think in order to get the push that we need? What do you suggest that the people do?
Yeah, I think that what you need to do is contact your state representative, talk about these two bills, the importance of it, how many people it touches, people that you know, that your registered voters, because the first thing people do is they'll go, okay, like John and Ramon said they live on Grove Street, same street as me, and the first thing I look at, I go, they don't live there. What do I care what they got to say? So make sure you're registered to vote. You got to get involved, and you let them know that if you're not going to be part of the solution, then you're going to be part of the solution. Part of that solution is you may have to support somebody else who's more favorable to what you're thinking and what you support. This is too important. This is about removing the barriers that hold people back and sometimes force them into a life of crime, addiction, suicide, and a whole bunch mental illness. So let's get these things going.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. John Lombardi, we appreciate you coming by, giving us your time. So we've learned a few things today. John,
got a lot of information.
Did you get that all? Did you get it all?
Yeah.
You sure?
There's a pop quiz in 5 minutes.
So, I mean, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I didn't know, actually, that you were a judge. So we have attorney John Lombardi, state representative,
Municipal court judge.
municipal
Providence.
court judge.
Former
I love
mayor
it.
of Providence.
Huh?
Former mayor of Providence.
Yeah, but just a regular
Wow.
guy. The point is that
No.
I am no better.
Well,
I
so-
sweat like you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear like you. I do everything.
The reason why I wanted to bring those back to the table is for the simple fact that you heard his story early on, right? He came from Federal Hill. His growing up was no different than a lot of us. You know what I mean? But he was able to hold his ground, stay grounded, and overcome. At 13, losing both parents. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So, big ups to your aunt, I believe you said, who
Grandmother and aunt, yeah.
grandmother and aunt who took you in, and they did the due diligence, and you are wow. You're an inspiration, and we appreciate all the work, and we commend all the work that you've done and continue to do.
Well, I'm honored and privileged
Definitely.
to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I didn't bore you. And
No,
again,
no. John asked, "Is he going to be okay with jokes?" John, we appreciate the jokes.
Well, when you see Ramon, ask him what I whispered in his ear when I went up to him. I can't say it because it's a little X-rated, but it's me. I mean, look, you got to be real, and I give it back because it's called ohms. Those of you that are religious, it's you give it. You don't get up on the soapbox and say, oh, look what I did. Look at how many people I helped. I am not comfortable with that. I rather just do it. And
Gotcha.
I know these two guys are the same way.
And we want to push that message. We want to push the message to the people. Continue doing what you're doing. If you want change, show how much you want it. Do the legwork. If you need help, please reach out. John Lombardi's here.
He gave you his number right on the podcast.
I'm sorry. What was the number again, John?
It's 401-404-4700.
There you
Gotcha.
go.
You heard it here, folks. Keep tuning in and stay tuned. We have another podcast coming up with Representative Felix, who is also, someone who went through the motions, and she has, exceeded and continues to exceed, the status quo. She's above that. So we will have her here soon as well. Anything you got, John?
Listen, again, I'm honored and privileged to be here. And if I can help one person, or we can help one person, because it's not only about me, it's about guys like these two guys. They're both funny looking, but their heart's in the right place.
I like it.
Listen, John asked me if I was going to joke. Of course I was going to joke. Wait till we go off camera. I'm going to hit him with so many lefts, he's going to be begging for a right. You trust me on this.
Peace,
Thank you
people.
so much,
All right,
guys.
guys.